Once again, the Manchester United medical department brings bad news, which worries fans and obviously Michael Carrick, especially regarding the game against Newcastle. We are sitting in third place. The football has been clinical, and that 2-1 victory over Crystal Palace on March 1st should have been a moment of pure celebration. But behind the scenes, the medical room is starting to look like a revolving door, and Carrick's honest admission about the squad's physical state ahead of the Newcastle clash on March 4th is a massive reality check. Before we dive into the specific updates on Lisandro Martinez, Luke Shaw and the rest of the defensive unit, make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel to stay updated on everything happening at Manchester United. Your support keeps us going. The situation with Luke Shaw and Harry Maguire is perhaps the most frustrating because it feels so sudden. Both players were instrumental in securing those 3 points against Palace, but the aftermath has been anything but smooth. Shaw was forced off after only 24 minutes, a sight that every United fan hates to see given his history. Carrick didn't sugarcoat it, saying they simply weren't feeling well physically, and there is a massive hope for a quick recovery. When you hear a manager say he expects them to feel better soon, it's a double-edged sword. On one hand, it suggests it's not a long-term muscle tear, but on the other, for a high-intensity game against Newcastle, being at 80% isn't enough. Shaw's exit left a massive hole on that left flank, especially with Patrick Dorgu already sidelined. If Shaw cannot make it for the 4th of March, Carrick is looking at a serious tactical headache. Then you have Harry Maguire. He managed to finish most of the game, but was seen heading straight down the tunnel in those final minutes.
It's that same unwell feeling Carrick mentioned, which suggests a possible bug or a fatigue-related issue that has hit the core of our defence at the worst possible time. For a team that relies on Maguire's aerial dominance and Shaw's progression, losing both simultaneously would be a disaster for the starting 11. We are in a position where every point counts to maintain that third-place spot and potentially push even higher, but the physical toll of the Premier League is starting to bite hard. But the name everyone is waiting for is Lisandro Martinez. The butcher has been a massive miss. That slight calf issue has kept him out of the Everton and Crystal Palace games, and you can see the difference in how we build from the back without his aggression and vision. Carrick was asked directly about Lisandro's availability for Newcastle, and his response was the definition of cautious optimism. He said we will have to wait and see, that he is close but it's difficult to commit to a definite yes right now. This is the Burt-level complexity of Carrick's management style. He knows that bringing Martinez back too early could lead to a relapse that ends his season, but he also knows that without him, the backline lacks that specific leadership that will be required to stop Newcastle's front three. The fans are desperate to see that number 6 back in the lineup, but the reality is that the medical staff is still running tests to see if that calf can handle the intensity of a midweek fixture. The concern isn't just about the names, it's about the chemistry. When you have Mazraoui, Dalot and Lenny Yoro trying to patch things up, they need stability. If Shaw and Maguire are out and Lisandro is only fit for the bench, the entire structure of the defence changes. This is a massive test for Michael Carrick's coaching. He has turned this team into a winning machine, but even the best machines fail when the parts are breaking down.
We are looking at a scenario where the lineup against Newcastle might be a complete improvisation, and while the defensive situation is the immediate fire Michael Carrick has to put out, the news regarding the midfield and the long-term absentees adds another layer of complexity to this Manchester United puzzle. Mason Mount is a name that always sparks debate in the pubs around Old Trafford and across social media, and Carrick's latest update on him is particularly telling about the club's long-term strategy. Mount has been sidelined for the last 5 Premier League games after a nasty knock in training, but the sight of him back on the grass at Carrington is a massive boost for the morale of the squad. Carrick mentioned that Mount is edging closer to full training, but the emphasis remains on patience. The coaching staff is clearly looking at the bigger picture, specifically the business end of the season in April and May, where United will need every bit of Mount's energy and tactical discipline to secure that top 3 finish, or perhaps even push for more. The fans have been divided on Mount's impact, but most agree that his ability to trigger the press is something this team lacks when the legs get heavy in the second half. The situation with Matthias de Ligt, however, is a bit more sobering for those hoping for a defensive masterclass against Newcastle. Carrick confirmed that de Ligt's recovery from that nagging back injury is going in the right direction, but he is significantly behind Mason Mount in terms of match fitness. Having been out since November, the Dutch international has missed a massive chunk of the season, and while he is progressing, he isn't expected back until at least the Aston Villa game on March 15th. This leaves a massive weight on the shoulders of Leny Yoro and Lisandro Martinez, provided Licha is past fit.
If not, we are looking at a scenario where Casemiro might have to drop back into the heart of the defence, or we see more of Aiden Heaven, which is a huge ask for a high-stakes game. Speaking of massive asks, the absence of Patrick Dorgu continues to be a thorn in Carrick's side. Since that muscle injury against Arsenal in January, the left-back position has been a constant source of reshuffling. With Dorgu not expected back until the Chelsea game in mid-April, the pressure on Luke Shaw to stay fit was already immense. Now that Shaw himself is struggling with this unwell period following the Crystal Palace game, the left side of our defence looks incredibly vulnerable. We might see Diogo Dalot switching sides again, or even Nasser Mazraoui being asked to cover, which naturally disrupts the attacking flow we usually see from our fullbacks. This isn't just about defending, it's about how we feed the likes of Matheus Cunha and Brian Buemo on the wings. If the foundation is shaky, the entire structure of the attack feels the impact. The reality Michael Carrick is facing is that the squad depth is being pushed to its absolute limit at the exact moment the schedule intensifies. We have the quality in players like Bruno Fernandes and Manuel Ugarte to control games, but football is a game of fine margins, and those margins are often dictated by the availability of your primary defenders. The upcoming clash with Newcastle isn't just a tactical battle, it's a test of physical resilience. Carrick has shown a remarkable ability to adapt, often making in-game adjustments that have saved us points this season. But even his tactical genius has a ceiling when the medical room is this crowded. As we look toward the team sheet announcement on March 4th, the atmosphere around the club is one of nervous anticipation.
We know the talent is there, we know the momentum is with us after the win against Palace, but the physical status of Shaw, Maguire and Martinez remains the great unknown. Carrick has done an incredible job navigating these waters so far, keeping us in third place against the odds, but the Newcastle game feels like a tipping point. If he manages to scrape a result with a makeshift backline, it will be one of the most impressive feats of his managerial career so far. But despite the hope for these quick recoveries, the truth is that we are still in a state of flux. Even if Shaw and Maguire make the bench, the question of their match sharpness and the risk of aggravating deeper issues remains completely unresolved. We are heading into this fixture with more questions than answers about our defensive stability, and the next 24 hours will be a frantic period of late fitness tests and medical consultations at Carrington. The fans are ready, the players are pushing, but the final call on who actually steps onto that pitch is still hanging in the balance, and that uncertainty is something that could define the trajectory of our month. Please make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel for more breaking Manchester United news and deep dive analyses.